I'm Paul,
I'm Mark.
and this is the return of the son of the show. This week, we watched Bionic Woman Season 3, so you don't have
That's right.
to.
Yeah.
Who calls me from out of the pit?
So, thoughts?
Overall, a very up and down season. Knowing full well it's the last season.
Yeah.
But I do like they moved to a new network, and I think in moving to the new network, they sort of dumped the school teacher angle as a plot device and really made the stories more spy oriented, which I liked.
Yeah.
However, they really, really dumbed down a lot of the episodes.
Yeah. It was like they ditched the kids,
Yeah.
but then they made it for kids.
Right.
And
it's like it went backwards. It should have, like, if we're going to make it a kids show, then we should have pushed the kids more in the story.
Yeah.
But, and of course, and we'll talk about this as we move through the episodes, in addition to sort of making it a kids show, which I guess it always was, but it didn't feel like it in seasons 1 and 2, but it really felt like it in a lot of season 3, not all of them.
Yeah.
But then also the romance angle, the bevy of Steve substitutes that she goes through
whilst maintaining an ongoing relationship.
Yes, with a not friend zone, but poor bastard who sticks with her through the whole thing. So we'll talk about him though too. But yeah, so no, I mean it was very uneven, more uneven than the other series. Certainly needed an editor, and a continuity person for continuity.
Yeah.
So, it started off strong though. So, we were talking the first 5 episodes are super strong. We get the Bionic Dog, which a lot of us, that's what we remember about the Bionic Woman.
I thought the Bionic Dog was in more than just season 3, and I thought it was more than just what he was in there.
Right. And we were talking about the fact we really think it was going to be a spinoff. Perhaps with the Peter Brady character, the character played by Christopher Knight.
I almost said Wayne Knight.
Yeah, not Max, come here. Yes, Max.
No wonder you extinct.
Yes, that's right. I don't even like dogs. I'm a fan in for my life, But and so I really and they did come back to. We'll talk about in the finale. They came back to this idea of Jamie connecting with the dog on or am I just a tool for the OSI to use? Just like this dog is a tool that they're going to throw away because it's not thriving like it should.
And that is true. They did kind of, they did. There are echoes of the same themes through this season, even though it was very uneven and disjointed and
and so that I did like that. Now our first non-Steve boyfriend is the forest ranger guy who was her old friend zone guy, is what we could call him.
Yeah.
And he was totally lame in this. So the first of many lame Steve substitutes.
I thought that guy, remembering this from when I was a kid, I thought that guy and the guy she ends up with were the same guy.
Right.
So
the same milquetoast. Steve Light. And then we had, I thought, the very strong fembots in Las Vegas. We both agreed that the son of the fembots creator is much better at creating fembots than his dad.
Yes.
And you can take that for what it's.
And that's the one that we decided was the
total ripoff of Diamonds Are Forever.
Yeah.
So after we watched that episode, we're watching that episode, and I'm a James Bond fanatic, I'm sitting there going, this is the plot for Diamonds Are Forever. We had a device that was going to be sent into space to destroy the Earth. We had a trip to Las Vegas. We had a Howard Hughes type rich guy behind a glass, which is somewhat similar to how Blofeld disguises himself at the top of, or pretends to be Willard White in that movie.
Yeah.
And so a very, very not not hidden ripoff of that movie. But overall, I mean, it wasn't bad, and so.
But as it turns out, I had never seen Diamonds Are Forever.
Correct. So then
we watched Diamonds Are Forever. So not only did we watch one of the worst James Bond movies ever,
yes,
we also watched season 3 of The Bionic Woman. So we
do all this for you,
yes,
our audience.
So you don't have
to. Yeah, Diamonds Are Forever. Just on each subsequent watch, I like it less.
Yeah,
and so,
I like it less enough to never watch it again.
Yeah.
So
I can't help myself if it's on TV. I'll sit and watch it. But
yeah,
I mean, I think we both agreed though during this episode. Why not just the kid was trying to get revenge, kidnap the OSI team. Just stick with the fembots. We don't need the world destroying plot. Yeah. Just make it about him kidnapping the team.
There was always like a quirk that didn't seem to work with like. Even the bad episodes and then even the good episodes, there was always that one little quirk that didn't work. Like one of the episodes towards the end, which we'll get to. There was just that. Why did they do that? Why did they have her pose as this person? It wasn't necessary.
Correct. Yeah, and they do well, and that's kind of a good segue into the next episode, Rodeo, which I think for me was a lesser episode. Because she's put in a role to be in a rodeo.
Yeah.
And so I'm not quite sure where her spy training also enables her to be like Sam from Quantum Leap, where she can suddenly, just do whatever job she's in.
Yeah, which she somehow managed to always have a background in. Now, correct. But Rodeo does have Simon, King of the Witches in it.
Yes. But I thought it was a good, and now that I'm thinking about it, another echo of the finale. Here's an OSI computer guy trying to just do his hobby, and OSI doesn't want him to. And so they put Jamie in, so I'm just like, wait a minute, that's echoes the ending as well. So maybe there's more to this season than I thought.
I think we're doing that thing.
No, I know we're doing
that. We do like after the Kennedy assassination, there were all these things that kind of lined up. Our brain is just making us want to.
We're trying to make it.
We're trying to justify our time.
Yeah, too much prestige TV we watch now, where people ought to purposely do that.
Yes.
And then we have the African connection.
That's one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah, I mean, so how many episodes has she had? I lost track of old retired curmudgeon has to team up with Jamie and be crotchety. Like, where the hell was Wilford Brimley? Wilford Brimley could have played. That's It's true. It's true. It would be Wilford Brimley now.
Yeah.
Jamie, I've got the beatus. I can't keep up with a Bionic Woman.
I think Wilford Brimley and Paul Rudd are the same age. Yeah, he was like 30 years.
That's true.
So yeah.
But I loved the tank. I loved him. Yeah. This was the curmudgeon that I liked, and the tank was cool.
Well, having read just oodles and oodles of men's adventure books back in the 80s and early 90s, I love the crisis in Made-Up-a-Stand.
Yes.
Or that they would have to go, and it was always these little countries that like were completely made up for the setting. And I'm also a huge fan of the Dogs of War, and which virtually every men's adventure novel owes a debt to. So just the fact that it was supposedly in Africa, gets me right away.
Yeah, clearly it was the lot where they shot MASH in California, but which was a stand-in for every country they went to.
Yes.
But, he's the one curmudgeon. The curmudgeon episodes are some of my least favorite in the Bionic Woman series. This was the good one.
Yeah,
he was good.
Yeah.
And then speaking of curmudgeons, we get now on paper, when I read this plot summary, I'm like, oh God. It was, Motorcycle Boogie, guest starring Evel Knievel.
Yeah.
And so I thought, oh good Lord, this is going to be terrible. Because he's terrible in just about everything he ever did.
But to say guest starring Evel Knievel is the most 70s thing you can possibly do.
But this one worked for me. This plot was a true OSI spy story. They got it right. And there's a missing computer tape. She has to go find it in West Germany. It gets stolen, taken across to East Germany. Minus the accents that were vaguely Russian sometimes.
They kind of
East German.
In and out.
Yeah.
And for you kids playing along at home, at one time there were two Germanys.
Correct.
So
correct, and it was hard to get across.
And it was right, and it was always on the tip of our tongues. It was in our public consciousness.
Yes,
so looking at it now as a kid, well, we didn't care.
Yeah,
but looking at it now, it's kind of fun that they actually had a little bit of that still going on.
Yeah,
in the show supposedly made for kids.
Yeah, and I mean, the fact that they have to wear disguises and they're they're being hunted, and it just worked. It surprised the hell out of me. Being probably one of my favorite episodes.
Mm-hmm.
The only issue I have with the episode is, why did she have to kiss him? Why did they have to make every man who guest starred in this season of Bionic Woman a romantic interest for Jamie?
Yep.
I'm like, Jamie, get your act together.
Well, I think
maybe it's the danger brings them together.
I think what it is, because I've thought about this. It's Bionic Woman. She's independent woman.
Yes.
We had this concept that the woman. I mean, our other TV women were all married, like
Right.
to Archie Bunker,
Yeah.
Maude. They were all married. She was a young woman.
Single, yeah.
In the world,
in the swinging 70s,
and and some of these people are old flames. Some of them were people that she, like Evel Knievel that she met.
Yeah,
but the wishy-washy part is the fact that supposedly she's had this boyfriend all this time.
Right.
And I'm like, I guess they have an arrangement.
Yeah, well, a 70s arrangement.
Yeah, and a 70s arrangement,
perhaps,
which should have been the name of an episode. The 70s arrangement.
Yes. Jamie, why? I'm Bionic. What do you want to do? Either fight me about it, or are you just going to sit there and take it? Well, take it, Jamie. But I love you. But I mean, she does have that effect on that. So I mean, both Lindsay Wagner and Jamie. And then so we go from what I consider a high point in season 3 to perhaps the lowest of low points, although there's quite a few. Brainwash.
Yeah. That's about where the series kind of takes a serious dip for a while.
Yes. I think we had almost a whole disc of dipping.
Yeah.
The fact that you go from a spy story that makes sense and fits the spy the world situation at the time. It's a spy, it's science. You go to a hairdresser who can mind control people.
Yes.
And
who should have been played by the guy that played Dr. Shrinker.
Correct.
I don't know why. I think that should have been better.
Yeah.
But then Callahan couldn't have fallen in love with him unless it was a May December thing.
Yeah, and Callahan.
What's so funny about this season, though, is when we were watching season 2, and because this is about the point where the season takes a pretty good dip for a while. When we were watching season 2 of Bionic Woman, and we got to the end, and we're like, we got excited because we realized we missed an episode. This one we were praying to God we didn't miss an episode.
Exactly. Do you remember this one? Do you remember? God, and we had to do research. And we're like, oh yes, we saw it. Thank you. So, excuse me. And then of course we get the next terrible episode, Escape to Love, which is sort of another, this time smuggling people out of the Eastern Bloc.
Yes,
but it's a teen poet who gets left behind by his science dad. And
there wasn't enough of what made the Evel Knievel episode work.
Correct.
To make this episode work. Because I get the lovesick poet boy thing, and it's Lindsay Wagner.
Right. Correct.
I get that.
Yeah.
But there wasn't enough of the drama, like the fear of being caught thing.
Yeah. And maybe had it not fallen 2 episodes afterwards, and so had it been like later in the series.
Yeah.
A lot of, we'll talk about the fact, well, we must say now, I mean, we get the Old Curmudgeon series of episodes. We have the plates that make money are stolen, which is a plot done at least 3 times that we can remember.
Yeah.
At least once a season. And so
I'm not going back and looking.
No, I don't care. Yeah. And so that seems to be a theme. And then we get
But before
yes.
we get that far, and even okay, there's no possible way she lets the boy down easy, but still has to kiss the guy who apparently she's known for a while. Who was only kind of a minor character.
Yeah,
it's like okay,
yeah, make up your mind. And then we get the Jamie Light episode, which we think was one of the spin-off episodes that if they were making Max as a spin-off bionic dog. So it's Jamie Light. So she's sick again from her bionics again. And makes you wonder when they say her cost was classified, is it because it was so much less than $6 million?
Right.
That's my I'm like, did Rudy really skimp on her because she's always sick?
Maybe the bionics just like reject estrogen or something.
I don't
sure.
know. Yeah, I don't know, but
woman problems cause the
But we get Peter Brady. Christopher Knight guest stars, has to save Max from being kidnapped. But it felt like a backdoor pilot.
Yeah.
It really did.
Yeah.
And so
at the very least, they used. It looked like they had footage laying around because they were. I think the Max stuff from the beginning of the season was to solidify the idea of doing a pilot, and then this was probably a pilot that they didn't have done, and they just shoehorned in, or they cut out and shoehorned in.
Yeah.
And is this the one? Is this the one where Rudy goes on the vacation from hell?
No, that's coming up.
Right.
That's coming up.
All right.
That one's coming up. So, but I don't remember if he's on vacation or not. He goes on vacation when he's got his fishing hat, because he goes on vacation in the alien one we're going to talk about. Oh no, the antidote. That's where he goes on vacation in the minefield.
Yeah.
The antidote.
What was the one we were talking about?
This one is Max.
Just Max. Okay, that's why I got him.
Yeah, because she gets sick again.
Yeah, because they get their there's themes.
Yes, this is a Jamie is sick episode. So. So Max, Jamie's sick again as always. And then the next one, back to an old curmudgeon, the Over the Hill Spy episode. The only thing I like about the episode, because this is where the old American spy and the old Soviet spy really liked each other, and they get to run off together at the end, which I kind of liked. Yeah, I kind of liked it. I liked the ending of it. The rest of it was the typical curmudgeon story with Jamie.
That could have been a spin-off. And they could have had the dog.
That's right. They could have, two old spies and a dog.
I just love the fact that the Russian guy is probably responsible for lots and lots of people dying.
Yes.
I'm gonna look the other way. And just go,
we're gonna run off together.
It's all good. You're old, so you're forgiven. Bye. Just
yeah. But maybe that's the spy game.
To me, that episode was just brutal because it was supposed to be funny.
Yeah, and it was.
And it really was.
No, I just like the end where they it seems like a young couple running off into the sunset. It just cracked me up. I'm like, that's not the tone I think you're going for. And then we get the All for One, or what it's the subtitle is Jamie goes back to school. Jamie goes to college. Yes. And at least again, this one is the OSI computers getting hacked by a young computer genius. Yeah. And perhaps there's another spin-off possibility. Misfits of Science.
I think they were trying. They were throwing anything at the wall to see what stuck to possibly do a spin-off, because they knew. Yeah. But they knew about halfway through shooting that this was going to be the last season.
The episode, I think, I didn't really like the episode till we find out why the kid's hacking stuff. Yeah. And then when it turns out that he's paying for people who can't afford to go to college, I'm like, Lindsay Wagner had to have something to do with that plot, because that feels like a Lindsay Wagner thing.
Back when it cost like $1,000 for 4 years of college, people just couldn't afford it.
Correct. So I like that episode.
Yeah, I enjoy it a lot. I had a thought about it though. And what I like about it and what I appreciate about it the most is what the majority I feel that the Bionic Woman series lacks is a sci-fi angle. Mm-hmm. Even just something, some kind of scientific thing, something more than just missing plates for dollar bills,
or yet another person all going to be assassinated.
Yes,
who has nothing to do with science.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this one, I like the fact that it makes OSI look like, and they feel like fools that they got hacked.
Yeah.
And so interesting.
Yep.
And then we get the pyramid. what I call their series of Time Life. Let's make sure we cover every book in the Time Life mysteries.
Yeah, that actually got me looking up the Time Life.
Me too. I should look it up too. It's exactly what I'm like. This one's pyramid power, and so but I don't think it was a bad episode.
No, I liked it.
I liked it, but I think you and I keep talking about the fact, why does Jamie always forget that she's encountered aliens?
Yeah.
Why is she surprised?
Yep.
That it's another alien, because she ran into them with the $6 million man. I mean, Sandy Duncan is an alien, so why are you forgetting that there's aliens?
Right. Also, the pyramid episode has my favorite Bionic Woman blooper of all time, where Jamie says the F word.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah. So no, I like that one. It kind of. I just remember as a kid loving the Egyptian aesthetic, Battlestar Galactica, this ad. So that was very popular back then.
Well, because we've since discovered what's our joke that, if white people didn't make it, obviously aliens.
Had to be aliens. Yes, had to be aliens.
White aliens.
Yes, old white man alien. Even though he's supported by brown-skinned helpers, yes, he taught them everything they know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of sucks. And then we get another. It's so forgettable we thought we didn't watch it. And another, the antidote, where Jamie once again is sick.
Yes.
But the only thing I can remember about it is the fact that Rudy vacations in a minefield.
And
he's off in a minefield with his fishing cap on.
I mean, he's a scientist. He doesn't have common sense.
No.
Why isn't there? Hey, there's nobody here. This would be a great place to camp.
Yeah. I'm like, you're going to dig up the minefield and throw it in the lake to fish? I mean, I know. I don't.
Yeah, I remember very little except for that whole scene where he's in a minefield.
Yeah, I find myself, and I don't know if it's because, like in other TV series, you'd have a fuller cast, so certain cast members get a break. So I'm sure she was given a break some episodes, but those are my least favorite. Jamie Light are my least favorite.
Well, that was one of the things, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit, is the grind of doing the show wasn't really agreeing with her, so she probably was happy to do a show where she just laid there in a bed.
Yes. All right, so the next one is The Martians Are Coming. The Martians Are Coming. Sorry. With, I thought for the time, not bad special effects with the spaceship.
No, in fact, that spaceship haunted my dreams, and I've drawn it a few times as a kid, not realizing that weird shape was from the Bionic Woman. Okay. I didn't realize it until we were watching it last 2 or 3 weeks ago when we did that.
I do find it odd. Again, here's the continuity police. She laughs at the people on TV who believe in UFOs. Jamie does, and I'm like, well, honey, you've run into lots and lots of aliens. So that just didn't. I think it would have worked better for her to go, oh my God, what if they only knew how true they is? Everyone thinks they're crazy, but they're right. And so that would have been, a nice callback to I don't know, 2 episodes before, and the fact that she meets another alien in the next episode. Yeah. And so
I don't. Maybe it was because they would to just have her say it, just have her say it without a flashback. Yeah. Might be might not work. Right. But that doesn't work for me because I'm like, they use stuff from the seasons that they didn't own already, so it ain't that. It's just they could have had an editor-in-chief on there.
Yeah, somebody else could have, maybe Callahan, who didn't know. I mean, I don't know. Someone else could have laughed. And so that was and then the other thing about the plot was, when you find out what the reason is for the alien ship, I'm like, why did they go to all that trouble to do what they were trying to do when they actually made themselves more visible? Yes. And everyone's hunting them. They could have easily just done what they needed to do on the right, and no one would have known the difference.
And that's part of what we talk about. There's always that one little thing that doesn't work. Yeah. That they could have left out, and it would have been a smoother. Maybe it's still not good, but it would have been it would have smoothed out some of these plots too.
Yeah, it's the I mean, it's what they make fun of in the Austin Powers movies, where we have this elaborate setup to do a simple thing.
Yeah.
And kind of the Wile E. Coyote, way of doing things.
The Rube Goldberg
Yes, the Rube Goldberg script. Yeah. And then we get Sanctuary Earth. So right after people who believe in aliens are stupid. She meets an alien girl played by Helen Hunt.
Yes, what I believe was her very first acting role.
Yes. And she's being chased by the Hee Haw twins
Oh,
as bad guy alien assassins.
I hate those guys.
Yeah.
They just creep me out.
Yeah, but that worked for them as aliens.
Yeah, they were creepy.
They were creepy.
They worked in the right way.
Yeah,
but then my family watched Hee Haw every week, so I had to watch those two creepy twins on that show all the time.
Yeah, and then we get to the last -1 episode, and the finale, the last set of really, really bad episodes. Starting with Deadly Music, which a doctor creates, which is Jaws. Let's do a Jaws episode. Yeah. But the doctor isolates a sound frequency that makes sharks attack things.
Yeah.
But sharks already.
Yeah, put some chum in the water.
Yeah.
That to me was so out there that I don't even remember why they were in the water in the first place. Because they were trying to set up some kind of radar or something.
It was well, I guess it would be like a submarine, perhaps tracking system. They never say. It's like they're trying to set up pods, and it's a listening device for the ocean.
But they gave it some kind of sci-fi angle.
Yeah.
But it didn't work.
Yeah, it just didn't work. Because it just wanted to be Jaws.
Yeah.
And so
we got lots of stock footage of sharks.
Yes. And then probably my least favorite episode is Which One is Jamie? And
that's the one that really shows off the incompetence of the OSI.
It makes the OSI. You don't diss my boy Oscar Goldman.
Nope.
You don't. You leave Oscar Goldman the hell alone. Oscar Goldman may not have the superpowers to make things happen and fix things, but Oscar Goldman is the man.
He's a great character.
Yeah, and you don't mess with him. And in this episode, we've got intelligence that someone wants to try to kidnap Jamie. So we're going to hide her, which, okay, that's perfectly logical.
Yeah.
But we're going to put Callahan in her house with the dog just to watch the dog.
Yep.
When I'm like, if we know they're coming after Jamie, they're coming to her house. Why wouldn't you have a bunch of OSI agents there? And they look all surprised when Callahan gets kidnapped by mistake. I'm like, no. It makes me so angry. The look on Oscar's face when he had to look like, oh my, Callahan got kidnapped because they thought it was Jamie? Oh God. Yeah, it's unforgivable. You don't do that.
It's like I was on the Night Stalker, and you got me saying this.
Yes. So I don't know. Maybe he had over-tanned himself that day and tanned his brain. I don't know. But I don't remember if he had his yellow shirt on.
Yeah,
his yellow dress shirt, which when he was always more in control than he was in the.
He had the yellow the yellow shirt and that plaid jacket that looked like your grandma's couch.
Yeah, he was always in control in that outfit. And then we get to another. So it's called Out of Body, and this Native American guy dies electrocuted, but then he tries to warn Jamie. So we thought it was a callback to the guy she met in season, was it 2? The Native American, the wolf. But they couldn't get that actor, maybe, or they couldn't reference that plot because they had changed networks.
Well, and they couldn't even use the guy from her psychic episode.
Yeah.
With the guy with the mental powers, which would have made more sense.
Yeah. And I think the worst sin of all is the fact that she's had this poor Steve-looking guy the whole time who appears to be her on and off boyfriend.
Yeah.
Then they introduce this Native American guy. I've never seen him before. And this is the love of her life. They're so in love and so connected that when he dies, before he goes on to the happy hunting grounds, which they was so racist.
Their words. Yeah. Don't come at us with the comments.
So much racism in this episode.
It's racism in a lot of these.
Yeah. We haven't gotten to the worst one yet. The worst offender of all. But, good. Oh, yeah, just the fact that this was her soulmate. How many? I mean, wow, Jamie, too many soulmates. So yeah, it just doesn't. I don't know. The episode doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
And then we get another. She has to protect someone from being assassinated, called Long Live the King.
Which unfortunately does not feature Robert Loggia.
No. And this is the episode where we start talking about the fact that if we were to redo the series, I would have Rudy be the head of OSI, which is an arm of the CIA, and Goldman is a CIA agent. And so because then it would make more sense, or at least loan her out to the CIA. So Oscar says, hey, they know you're bionic. We need the CIA needs you. Because a lot of these episodes would make way more sense if she were a CIA operative.
Yeah. Just normal people could do most of everything that happens in these stories.
So, I mean, but I didn't mind the plot. She used her powers quite a bit in it, and so that was cool. But yeah, just another kind of a recycling of a season 2 plot. So that one, it's a tick up because I don't know. At least it was better written.
Yeah,
but not much better. And then we get to the nadir, the penultimate episode, which
has my favorite scene in the entire series in it.
Yes. So let's start with the good. The good? Go ahead. Tell us about it.
The best thing in this entire episode. They must have thought that the shot, the angle, the acting, everything was too perfect to shoot twice. Because right in the middle of all this talking, they're in this South American village, and there's this couple of cows. Right in front of everybody, one of these cows just does what a cow does, and they just keep talking.
And the mic totally picks up the loud sound effect of that hitting the ground.
Yep. And it's just they're like, but what about the cow? No, it's perfect.
Yes. Lindsay's never acted better.
I mean, this is as bad as it is. I enjoy this episode, but we can.
I agree with you. The sets are amazing.
Yeah, the sets are really well done.
It doesn't actually looks like they're in a different country. It doesn't look like they're on the back lot.
It has the production look of a higher level, low budget movie. I'm not talking blockbuster, but something that was just a bit above a Roger higher, but the best Roger Corman movie production is what this set has. His Poe stuff.
Right.
It had that kind of value to it, I thought.
Yeah, but for me, it's got way too much. This is the most racist episode.
Yeah.
I mean, it has number one. It's got a Woody Allen stand-in as the nebbish sidekick who is turning on his people to get out of jail. It's another episode with stolen currency plates.
Yep.
But what I can't figure out is it starts off that she's going to impersonate a criminal whose name Blondie Malone. Blondie Malone. So Blondie Malone, it's supposed to echo, I would think a mall, so from noir movies. And apparently this mall hung out in this South American stand-in for Argentina, I think, because there's a lot of German-looking guys that live there. But they disguise her as a Spanish dancer,
flamenco dancer or something. Yeah.
Why would you, if this Blondie Malone has no connection to the outfit and disguise she chooses to wear?
Somebody just wanted to see her dressed
flamenco
like
dance,
that because there was one of the characters in this hotel that the episode mostly takes place in is clearly like a woman from New York, like a white lady from New York. Yeah. So to smuggle Jamie in as like a local or something. Well, that that's where you get into the worst of
But drop the Bugsy Malone, like
yeah,
the
that's what I'm saying.
Blondie. And she has to end up throwing it out anyway because they're like, oh yeah, she used to be here all the time. We know who she is.
They just wanted her in that dress. And they wanted her dancing on a bar.
Yeah,
bar top.
But her accent. I mean, her channeling Charo.
Yeah.
Was Charo's like Charo's worst, like Charo in an episode of Love Boat accent, and so
she probably called Charo like to
probably
get, like, some coaching.
Maybe they met on the Battle of Network Stars or something. Coochie, this is how you say it, Lindsay. Coochie, coo. But
you look reading the credits, dialogue coach Charo.
Yes. And then the worst part is the one eye, I guess they called him.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Talk about a horrible.
Yeah, he was
horrible stereotype.
They saw like Treasure of Sierra Madre.
Yes. Because I felt like it was a cross between that and like this is our version of Casablanca, but really bad. And the bar just wasn't
or the Kansas City Confidential.
Yeah. So it just did not work. I mean, it just did not.
Now, like I said, set design's great.
Yeah.
Episode, not as great as I remember, but it has the greatest scene in Bionic Woman history.
Correct. And then we get to the finale.
The reason why we're all here.
Correct. The very, very last episode, which we watched in its entirety.
Mm-hmm.
And then we decided to watch the commentary, which was by Steven D'Souza, who wrote the episode.
Yep.
That made it.
Yeah.
Gave us a lot of background that is left out of Wikipedia and IMDb, by the way. And so, I'd say it's probably one of the best episodes.
Yeah.
I mean, they pull out all, knowing full well at the end.
Yeah.
They pull out. I mean, Oscar gets an Emmy speech.
Man, he gets an Oscar speech.
That was probably the most. Yeah, I mean, Oscar gets his moment in the sun twice.
I was gonna say twice. He gets two great scenes.
Yeah, he gets to
show the world what he thinks of her, and he gets to tell her what he thinks of her.
Yeah, and how he feels about it.
It's great.
Yeah, and they're careful about it. So, I mean, we've always thought Oscar was kind of creepy with her, and so. Yeah, so I mean, kind of like an older man who with a younger woman keeps saying that she's family, but then doesn't treat her like family. But yeah, but I think he says he loves her, and that I don't remember that at all from a kid, so probably because I didn't pay attention to it.
I don't remember that episode.
No, I don't either.
To be honest.
Yeah, and so his speech though to the government agent when the guy doesn't even know her name. I mean, was fantastic.
Yep.
His anger was great. And then when he's just falling apart with her. And I love the fact that the whole time she's berating him for betraying her and I can't believe you stabbed me in the back. He knows damn well he's going to tell her how to escape.
Yep.
That was just a perfectly written scene. And the fact that he's just letting her have it with him. And he goes, oh, and by the way, you've got about 10 minutes to get out of here. I'm just like, God damn, that's perfect.
It plays out, like I said, it plays out as a mini movie.
Yeah.
And then,
we find out Steven D'Souza helped write many favorite 80s movies.
Mm-hmm.
So he had a hand with Commando, 48 Hours, Die Hard 1 and 2, and perhaps one of the greatest heist movies of all time, Hudson Hawk. And go ahead. Feel free to debate us in the comments, and then we'll come back with our Hudson Hawk episode.
Oh, yeah.
We'll tell you why.
Yep.
Why it's the greatest.
It's so slept on and misunderstood.
So misunderstood.
And the cliche is ahead of its time.
Yes.
But no,
and
you didn't get the joke.
Yeah. And we kind of, if this, we both talked about the fact that if this were prestige TV, this whole episode would have been strung out. Scenes like this would have been strung out throughout the whole thing, building to her leaving.
Yeah. They could have they could have, had they known that's where they were going, they could just pepper in little bits and pieces. Don't necessarily make it the whole part of this episode, just like little bits in there,
I mean, I kind of think we get that with the dog in the beginning, but I think that was more about the dog than it was her.
Mm-hmm.
But so no, I think it was done really well, and we get a little bit of it could have been a whole season I mean, I would have done a crossover with the $6 Million Man chasing after her while she's on the run. That would have been cool.
Or helping her.
Yeah, helping her escape. Yeah.
You
or Oscar is trying to. He has to send Steve after her, but he's secretly helping out and stopping Steve at every point.
Yeah,
that would have been cool. But yeah, no, I think Oscar gets his moment in the sun after many moments in the sun.
Richard Anderson was a good actor.
Yeah,
people don't realize that.
Yeah.
And so's Lindsay Wagner.
She I mean, she goes through every emotion in the book in this episode, and believably so.
Yeah.
And I think the bratty little kid that she's watching in the beginning kind of sets her off on that plot path.
I love how we were just crapping on that kid for being just a crappy kid, and then we watched the running commentary with D'Souza, and it's like, oh, so she really was supposed to be.
Yeah, we wanted her to be a brat. Yeah.
so good job.
Yeah, he did a good job. Yeah. I mean, it was clear, and we got to learn that that the show was on the bubble, which is what all the websites talk about. It was on and low ratings got to cancel, but that's not true.
Yeah,
she decided to leave the show. She decided she wanted a family and to get away. And so he talks about the fact that there's a scene where she reads a letter to Oscar, and it was actually something she had dictated to him about her own life, Lindsay Wagner, wanting to get out of acting. And so I thought that was really cool.
So through all 3 seasons, this woman had, in a time when women didn't, this woman had so much control over this show, it's insane.
And they knew what they had.
Yeah.
And D'Souza says it, you can't have the Bionic Woman without Lindsay Wagner.
Mm-hmm.
Once she's gone, we know it's over.
Mm-hmm.
If she decides to leave, you can't just replace her with a new Bionic Woman.
Right.
And so, I mean, they knew what they had.
Mm-hmm.
And shame on Hollywood for not giving her other roles more than she got.
Well, to be fair, she won it out.
She did win out. That's true.
That's why there was always that, when they started doing the Bionic movies, there was always the, is she going to come back?
Right.
Is she going to come back?
Correct.
Tabloids run amok with whatever whatever titles they want to call it. But that was the thing. She won it out.
Yeah, so I think it was. I mean, and she had requested Steven D'Souza as the writer,
right?
And so I thought that was interesting. We got his life story, which was kind of cool too.
Yeah, it actually is. It actually did. I mean, he did have a pretty interesting story to tell. Mm-hmm. He's telling his story. But when key moments in that episode were happening, I'm like, shh, I want to hear Oscar speak.
I want to hear Oscar again,
but it was worth it in the long run to hear it.
Yeah, so I think that episode in and of itself, which you're right, could have been a 2-hour movie, the way D'Souza wrote it.
Yep.
Made up for a lot of painful episodes prior.
Yeah, so even though there was a really big valley, big valley, there's a really big valley of quality in this season. The ending just, we're not going to talk about the Mexican episode or the Argentina episode as much as we're going to talk about this episode from now on.
Yeah. And they started off strong. Yeah. I just don't know if it just. I mean, we had a new showrunner, and so if you're like me, a Doctor Who fan, you know that the showrunner can change everything.
Yep.
And so I think that whoever Kenneth Johnson, I think, had a way more quality control in the first 2 seasons, even though there were some. I mean, we talked about the clunkers in those.
Yeah.
Every TV show is going to have a clunker.
Go back and watch them.
Yeah.
Watch our videos.
Yeah. And so, but this one had more clunkers than most.
Yeah.
So, but maybe, maybe the rumblings were there sooner with both the ratings and with her wanting to leave. So they just kind of, but anyway, they really, D'Souza talks about the fact he and Lindsay Wagner spent a lot of time together crafting this final episode. And I think whether you agree with some of her worldviews or not, I mean, the episodes where she put her foot down and had something to do with work tend to be the better episodes.
Yeah. Because we joke about her mysticism and mind over matter stuff.
But at the same time, we were 10, 11 years old at the time. I ate up every Bermuda Triangle book I could find. I had the whole Time Life series.
Watching shows like That's Incredible, Search of, Believe It or Not, with Jack Palance. We ate that up anything about the Bermuda Triangle, which to the Bermuda Triangle.
She should. Now, see, that would have been a fine episode. That would have been a crossover with Steve, I think.
And Bigfoot.
And Bigfoot, yeah. Bigfoot, he's in the Bermuda Triangle, hanging out.
So I can't even just hang out on an island. I gotta get bothered by you
Volcanoes, oceans, and Sandy Duncan would have been there. Yeah. But no, so I think it ended on a high note. Yeah. And they got to end it, which they talk about the fact that they actually got to end. Oh, let's talk about the ending, though. So apparently, interesting to note. So D'Souza said the original script ends with Jamie coming to terms with her bionics, understanding that she is who she is still, even with changes. Great scene with the little kid and his dad. And apparently...
Not that he saw it.
Oh, okay. Oh, you'll get it if you watch it.
Yeah, watch the episode. Come at me.
Yeah. And the as the agents are closing in the original script, she breaks through them and runs away, and the show ends with her sort of bionically running off into the unknown, free of the OSI.
Getting in a car with Bill Bixby.
Yeah. Which, there was a good Bill Bixby scene as well. But so D'Souza said that apparently the show was going to be, they knew it was going to be syndicated, so this episode might be out of order. So like, well, we can't end it like that. Which, they could have, but because with Quantum Leap. But
that's something we can talk about on a different show. Because the way Quantum Leap ended. But the thing is like producers aren't always the smartest people in the room.
Correct. And I disagree with D'Souza. After the what she says to the kid is not about running away.
Mm-hmm.
It's about coming to terms with who you are and where you are.
Yeah.
And the ending scene is true to her character and the actress. She goes back and she sets the terms for how I will be an OSI agent.
Which, as Lindsay Wagner did
at the very beginning for the whole show. Yes. And so I think I think he's wrong. I think that the ending was perfect. She goes back as an agent, but and Oscar's right there with her.
Yeah.
We're going to do things differently from now on. And I think that's a really good ending. That's like, it ends it, but it doesn't, like, it leaves it open,
But it's like I said, he put everything into this script just to have it changed. I can understand being pissed off.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But I think thematically, I don't think it would have worked. Yeah. Had she not had the speech with the kid and escape, that makes sense. It just doesn't, to me, thematically doesn't make sense because she becomes one at peace with it and doesn't need to run anymore.
Yeah.
And so, because there's that whole scene with the faux boyfriend, the poor bastard,
not
Steve Austin, who I'll live with you forever and do whatever, Jamie. It just when he says you're going to be in a prison of on the run. Being on the run will be a prison. And so to me, it just made more sense that she goes back and puts her foot down and says, bionically puts her foot down and says, this is what I want to be. So, but so I think that it really was a nice, and he talks about the fact they had a lot of callbacks in the first episode, which was kind of cool. So they really do wrap it up nicely in the end.
Yeah.
So glad we watched the comments.
Yeah. Okay. So overall experience or did you have more?
No, I think overall, the whole series was, not in my memory like the $6 Million Man is. And so, but I'm glad we went through it. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. And I think we saw a lot more in it as adults than we ever did as kids.
Yeah.
So,
I think, it holds up. You just got to remember when you're watching old shows, you're watching old shows. You're not watching prestige formatted television.
Correct. Yeah, TV was written differently back then.
Yep.
And so, but I think for that in and of itself, it's a great show.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, are we wrong? If we're wrong, let us know in the comments. If you hated the Bionic Woman or any of the Bionic stuff, if you loved it, let us know what your favorite episodes are.
Or your least favorite.
Your least favorites.
How could it end like they did? If you're upset about it, like we always talk about. Or at least I do with the TV show sticking the ending, and I think this one stuck the landing.
Yep.
So did you feel it stuck the landing? And so
just let us know. we're thinking the two of us. We're probably gonna do. We're a little bionic out. So, like, if we ever do a series, like an entire series again, we're not doing them consecutively.
No.
We'll break between them.
Yeah.
But we're thinking about doing starting with season 1 of Buck Rogers with Gil Gerard and Aaron Gray. So we'll probably be doing that in a couple of weeks, or weeks.
Talking about the original Battlestar Galactica, revisiting that, which I've only seen the cut up movie versions. I haven't sat down and actually watched the whole episodes.
Oh yeah, they're fun.
Yeah.
And just like in the beginning, I'm Paul.
I'm Mark.
And this has been the return of the son of the show. Or the return of the bionic son of the
Bionic Dogs show with the Bionic Woman somewhere thrown in there.
Something like that. Yeah. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Sandy Duncan, and like most everybody, I am a snack lover. In fact, right now, I love some wheat thins. Wheat thins taste really good, and they're full of natural whole wheat. So they make a terrific snack right out of the box, or you could put something on top. Look, when you're having a snack, why not have something really good? Wheat thins. They call them the light little cracker with the big wheat taste from Nabisco. Love them.